Hello, so today is going to be a Wukong Jinx day, which is actually very exciting for me because I haven't had a chance to play Wukong Jinx all that much in the recent patch, even though I believe it's one of the strongest comps. It's very, very good. There's parts of this comp that are getting a little bit nerfed, but Jinx in herself is actually getting buffed in the next patch, which to me was very surprising in the patch notes. So I do expect this to still be relevant. I expect to be very strong come Wednesday, so make sure that you know this comp, you know it inside and out. If you're watching regionals, I don't know if anybody here watches like competitive TFT or watches like the esports-esque aspect of it, but in the Tactician's trial that recently just happened over the weekend, Wukong Jinx was like, there was multiple games where people were double contesting it. It's very popular in NA. It's very unpopular in a lot of the tournaments in other regions, which was surprising to me. But it was doing so great. So you know, I was happy to see. Okay, I started with the Wukong, or sorry, I started with the Jinx, and I started with a bow. Jinx usually want to make like attack speed items on her a lot because she gets like that bonus true damage anyways, and then Sugarcraft stack. She's gonna have enough damage in a lot of the time. So a lot of times like her best items are just like bows. Look at my items. You know, I have decent items that I can use for frontline. I can use the tier and the chainmail if I hit a Wukong early. But starting with the Jinx and starting with the Hunter start, I'm kind of down to just try and force towards it a little bit. I feel like this patch, probably next patch as well, the set in general, your spot on 2-1 is really like, you know, usually you have to play around it pretty aggressively. If you have a spot for like a reroll, even if it's not like the greatest spot, having direction and just like forcing something 2-1 with a good augment is often like the better strategy. It feels like, if that's just how it feels, like pivoting and being really open is not great. I had a lesser dupe as well, so now I feel like really confident in my spot. I can just sack, get a Guinsoo after Guinsoo, kind of build up my board later. Here, it starts with a Prismatic Opener. I'm not sure exactly what the best augments are. I had trouble filtering it exactly. So there's Pumping Up here. I'm pretty sure Pumping Up is really good. I'm actually going to show the stats right now. I'll tell you that I end up taking March of Progress, so we'll just wait a second to see that. So Living Forward, not really. Pumping Up's really good, but I roll it for March of Progress. I probably should have rolled left first. But I'll show you what happened. While I was streaming, I was playing this game while streaming, so I was trying to figure out what the best augments were. If you put in Jinx 3 and you go augments, and then you go Prismatic, it says that Spellcaster is really good, Dark Alley Dealing, and Freaky Friday are all really good. I'm pretty sure these are just the Sugarcraft variation, right? Like, I think if I put Wukong 3, they all disappear. Yeah. And then it becomes Pumping Up. So I just didn't filter properly. That's why I rolled Pumping Up first, by the way. Because when I first saw the stats, I was like, oh, Freaky... Like, I know Spellcasters is obviously geared towards playing Gwen, because Spellcasters, like, two really good items both for Gwen. Manazane and Zhonya's are both, like, Giga really strong on Gwen. So I knew this one was fake. I wasn't sure about this one, but I saw Freaky Friday and Hunter Crown. I know Hunter Crown's really good because usually you just play 6 Hunter and it puts you in a really good spot. It also gives you a Runeance Hurricane, which is a really good Jinx item as well. But Freaky Friday, I said, oh, maybe it has like a good interaction with Jinx and then you use the other one for Olaf later. So I said, okay, it makes sense. Maybe I'll just take Freaky Friday for the items. But if you put in Wukong, you'll see that Pumping Up is really good. Now, I rolled Pumping Up first. Even if Pumping Up was left over, I always take, like, March of Progress, I'll show it here. You'll see that it's not, like, a minus delta, like, really, really good augment. If you read March of Progress, basically what it does is that you gain 3 XP, and you're getting bonus XP equal to your level at the start of each round. And you don't level up anymore. So basically, you just perpetually level up by gaining XP every round, and you can basically just keep all your gold to roll down really aggressively. Now, March of Progress really only works with 3-cost rerolls. That's the way you should always think about it. March of Progress is like a really good augment if you're playing a 3-cost reroll, and otherwise it's pretty useless. If you try and play 1 or 2-cost rerolls, you will just level up before you have a chance to hit your board a lot of the time. And 3-cost rerolls, you have like a really, really long period of time where you're stuck on level 7. With March of Progress, you'll have a really good time trying to hit those units at that level. So I take March of Progress here. The reason I took it is because it's more so for consistency. Of course, if I had the option of Pumping Up in March of Progress, I might evaluate a little bit differently and think to myself, maybe I'll play one versus the other. But March of Progress, you should always think about whenever you take like rolling augments or duplicator augments, right? Like what's it called? Like is heroic grab or whatever, like champion duplicators, like, or reroll augments. Any of these augments that you take, like Prismatic Ticket, Silver Ticket. They're all to help you hit the board. It's more so like, instead of gunning for a first and gunning for the best and strongest possible augment, the strongest board, you're like, I'm just gonna value hitting my board first, right? If I hit my board, I'll be pretty happy. If you look at the stats, hitting Wukong 3, Jinx 3 is enough to be really good in the stats, right? You'll see that it averages like well above a 3.5. You're like, you know, it's going to be hard to bot 4 from this spot, right? If you have Wukong 3, Jinx 3, you have like a 75% chance of top 4, and that's not even looking at items or anything else, right? Like, it's very strong. So I value way more hitting the actual units than like greeding to try and hit the Giga Augment to try and like get the exact, like, you know, insane spot, if that makes sense. So on carousel here, I just take another bow. I think it's a bow with a Jinx or something. No, it's a bow with a Zillion. But anyways, I'm just looking towards playing the typical JINX WUKONG reroll board. It looks something like this if you want to know. If you haven't seen the board, because maybe, like, you know, I'm not going to be rude about... Oh, wait, sorry. There's a really important part here. So, I don't know if this is the correct decision all the time, but I am streaking. As you can see, I'm 2-streaking right now because I'm decently strong. So, what I decide to do here is duplicate the... use my duplicator that I got on Wukong, because Wukong is so strong that I think that a Wukong 2 will be a really strong unit to just put in here that can keep my streak going ideally. So that's what I tried to do here. I'm not sure if it's always right. There are a lot of weak people in my lobby. Like this guy, for example, is full open with Tiniest Titan. There's a lot of options for me to get into a spot where I can high roll really aggressively. But it's like, it's more so like the idea of like, I'm win streaking, I want to stay strong. Having a Wukong 2 this early, a lot of times you don't even hit Wukong 2 until like end of stage 3. So I just put myself in a really strong spot. And then here I was just looking at stats and debating if I should make Protector's Vow to keep my streak going. It's really funny because I just used my duplicator and then I high rolled another Wukong in shop. So, you know, in hindsight, I didn't have to duplicate my Wukong that round in particular. But, you know, it is what it is. I just thought it was a funny thing to show my stage 2, like how it worked out. But anyways... if you haven't seen the JINX WUKONG board, it's typically just playing 4 Hunter. So you'll typically play Jinx, Kog'Maw, Olaf, Twitch. And then you will play Preservers, so Zillion and Bard, which gives you the synergies for Preserver as well as Sugarcraft for the Jinx. And then you just solo frontline a Wukong. This is something that was very popular back way when. The comp got kind of nerfed a little bit indirectly. Like there was a Jinx bug that got fixed, and Jinx wasn't really good, and then Wukong was bugged, and then Wukong wasn't really good. But typically what you're doing is just solo frontline Wukong playing Hunters and Preservers. Hunters got buffed to a point now where they're quite strong. So a lot of times what you end up doing is just play 4 Hunters. If you can high roll and play towards 6 Hunters with a Hunter spat, then you will just Hunter spat somebody on your team, and then you will play the extra Nomsy to get the 6 Hunter variation when you level up. And 6 Hunter is just really strong just because of how much extra AD that it gives. It also gives you attack speed, which is really good for Jinx. The starting attack speed allows her to ramp up a lot faster with her double Guinsoo or single Guinsoo, whichever you get. But a lot of times you'll just put like utility on Kog'Maw. You can go for Kog'Maw 3-star, you can go for Jinx 3-star, and you can go for Wukong 3-star. Wukong, there's different ways to build him. If you hit spin to win, it's also another win condition. If you hit spin to win, a lot of times it's like Sterix and Bloodthirster, and then you'll typically put Gargoyle because he's going to be your main solo frontline unit. If you don't want to build him like that, you can just put general tank items on him. A lot of times I'll do something like Redemption and Gargoyles, because like the items like the belts and the tiers are hard to like use on Jinx and other units in particular. But then you can itemize towards your Olaf. You can make Olaf items. You can try and make utility for Jinx. A lot of times it's something like, you know, Last Whisper double Guinsoo, or damage item double Guinsoo, or single Guinsoo and utility. A lot of times, like, if you have so many bows, like, you know, all the good items on Jinx are typically bow items. But you can put AD items on her as well. She's pretty flexible. You just want to always make sure she has at least 1 Guinsoo. This comp stalls really well because of the Wukong. So you just want to make sure that the Jinx has something that she ramps up so that while you stall, she does more damage as time goes on type of beat. That's just, like, generally the idea. Anyways, I get dropped a bunch of bows. I have so many bows, so I make Last Whisper, and I'm just waiting on Guinsoo here. I get dropped double belt, and I think a bow and a glove. So I make Last Whisper because, like I said, I'm streaking, so I want to keep my streak going at this point. And then I'm trying to make frontline items the best that I can, so I make those frontline items. I think I reforged the tier into a belt or a bow or something. I forget exactly what happened. But this is how my items kind of worked out. Like I'm trying to lean towards having the gargoyles on the Wukong, so I'm kind of just waiting for that. That's why I'm not making anything with the chainmail. Looking at my options here aren't the greatest. Explosive growth is pretty useless. I have March of Progress, so I already have like a really, like, my econ augments are good. I don't want another econ augment. Keepers is pretty bad in this comp because you always want to solo frontline the Wukong because all your backline units, you just want to keep them in the backline. Behind the Wukong is gonna be like your Giga Tank. And then I just take You Have My Bow. It's okay. It's pretty good on the comp typically because you like attack speed on Jinx. However, I already have so many bows. Now, bows, you never have too many bows with this comp, but this kind of feels like a little bit of too many bows because, you know, I would like to balance to have a little bit of frontline items so that my Wukong could, like, keep my win streak going. Like, if I had, like, something that gave my Wukong, like, gargoyles, I'd rather have that. But either way, we have a bow on Jinx and another bow, so I can aim towards making double Guinsu. Depending on what I hit on Carousel, I really want to get a rod on Carousel, but there are a lot of AP players, so it might be hard to find that rod to get the first Guinsu on this Jinx. But for right now, we're just streaking. We high rolled really hard. If I didn't find the extra Wukong on bench, that's why I was saying, like, it's really correct to use a duplicator early. Rather than save it till later. You always want, a lot of times you want to save your duplicator till the last possible minute because it's like the hardest one to hit of any of the 3-star units is the last one of those units. Just by odds of probability, you know, if you remove more from the pool, it's gonna be harder to hit. So a lot of times you want to try and greed your duplicators till the end of the game just to get like the 3-star with the duplicator. But in a lot of cases like these, as you can see, I'm 6 streaking. Right, streaking early is very important. It sets you up for a lot of gold. It gives you a lot of HP. It puts you in a really commanding position to do well in the lobby. So you always want to make sure of that. Don't underestimate not making like not making early items and playing around like win streaking. Duplicating is really important. Obviously I high rolled, so I had another Wukong anyways, so I didn't have to use the duplicator. It's very hindsight to say that though. So I'm just trying to introduce that concept because I think people struggle with it. This fight was so fucked, by the way. I was actually so sad with this fight. Look what happened. My Jinx is in the corner, and this sometimes happens. I don't know how to avoid it. I hate it when this happens. Like, look at that shit, dude. Look at my Jinx's pathing, right? My Jinx just walked like in front of behind everybody. Like, it was so fucking troll. Look at this. So, like, I killed a frontline unit, and then Jinx, like, she just walks to get to be the first one hit. Like, if my Jinx was safe in the corner, I might have actually won this fight. Because if Jinx gets one ult off, I clear everybody. She just, oh my god. It was, I was like, bro, there goes my streak. Chances are I probably lost that anyways, though. So, it doesn't matter too much, but it's still fine. There's Rod on the Tarek, so that kind of sucks. But it is what it is. Because on a 4-cost, I'm probably not going to get it, so I still won't have a Guinsu. Guess what I'm going to take here? Another bow. I'd rather just make red buff, to be honest, because if I make red buff, like, I'm still going to hold one bow for Guinsu, but making red buff gives me anti-heal, so now I'm going to have Last Whisper and red buff, so I'm going to have Sundering for my Jinx and anti-heal for the board. Right now, I am playing Dragon, so anti-heal isn't the most important, obviously. I remember in the most recent video, I'm getting comments about how I made anti-heal when I was playing Dragon. This is not the same as that one. That one was clearly a mistake, and I commented, like, yeah, my bad. But in this case, I'm making it because I'm going to drop Dragon eventually, right? If I'm playing the 4 Hunter variation of this, I'm not playing Shyvana. So the anti-heal is going to be important for later. And it's a good item on Jinx as well because it gives her starting attack speed. Starting attack speed makes it so that her Guinsu stacks a little bit earlier, gets those casts off, gets the true damage bonus from her ability, and just does a shit ton of damage, right? And it gives damage amp as well, which is nice. But that one guy I lost to kind of sucks. I wish I positioned better against him because the chances are I'm going to beat everybody else this game. The Jinx pattern is so bad, by the way. I need to put Jinx on the same side as the enemy carry in a lot of these fights so that that doesn't happen. because then the Jinx will just walk up and like kill them. This is something that happens mostly on the left side, I find. If you're on the left side solo frontline unit, a lot of times Jinx just does this shit where she walks behind the units and then finds herself smack dab in the middle. So it's really stressful sometimes. As you can see, March of Progress, we're going to hit level 7 next turn, and then we're going to be on level 7 for a while. We're 91 gold because we're basically just been sitting with all our gold right now. A lot of times March of Progress is really good in mages as well. Because with mages, you can actually roll a little bit on level 6 to get like some charms to like juice up your Vigor. Like that's a little bit of a strategy that sometimes works out. Depending on what your board looks like. Like, you know, if you're Vigor paired, Vex paired, you know, rolling on 6 to get one of them upgraded is not that bad of a decision. But it's totally fine. Here I'm playing this Syndra board. Now, I don't know what it is, but this board is really, like, this is Vertical Eldritch, right? So if you look at this board, I don't know if it's the Syndra that just scaled really hard. But they have a lot of upgrades, obviously, so they are quite strong with Spoils of War and everything. But, like, holy shit is this guy strong. If you haven't seen the Eldritch, like, Eldritch is getting buffed a little bit. Syndra, like, Eldritch lines are pretty strong, right? The bigger problem that Syndra and Eldritch has, if you don't have a Syndra that scales early, like, you have to have a really good spot for it. Because if the Syndra doesn't scale enough, then she becomes very useless into late game. So even though, like, it's getting buffed, so, you know, be careful. Because, you know, you'll see this game that the Eldritch player is strong for the entire game. Because they had a good Eldritch spot, right? They're not just forcing into Eldritch, took an Eldritch +1 and said, fuck it, I'm going to play Eldritch. It's like they hit a lot of Syndras. They had a really good spot. They are going to be very strong for this game. So keep an eye out for it. Because come Wednesday when they buff Eldritch, you're going to see that a little bit more. The same with, like, this Wukong Jinx board. It's just something important to note. I once again got, what is that? Zero rods, so that's not good. A little bit unfortunate here. I don't know why I put in Nomsy for 4 Hunter here because I don't have Olaf yet. So we're just gonna roll here. We're gonna roll till around 50, maybe a little bit deeper if I'm like 1 off of a unit or something. So as you can see, we're just rolling. I'm 1 off Wukong, so I'm probably gonna send it now. So I'm just fixing up my bench a little bit. I'm going for Kog'Maw 3 as well here because might as well. I'm 2 off of Jinx, I'm 1 off of Wukong, and I'm 3 off of Kog'Maw. This is what usually happens. I think I high rolled a little bit on this roll down for sure because I hit a lot of Wukongs. I also started the game off with a lot of Wukongs, so this game in general is pretty high roll. However, this is how March of Progress kind of works. You just have a giga amount of gold, so it's very consistent to roll down on level 7 to hit a bunch of units. Because you just have like 100 gold and you're just in a really good spot. But anyways, I'm probably going to send it close to 0 next turn. Depends how long it takes me to like pick my augment and stuff. Because I want to ideally hit Wukong 3, Jinx 3 next turn. Hunter Crown, we already looked at the stats before I was pointing out. 6 Hunter is a huge spike for this board. Now 6 Hunter I think is getting a little bit of a nerf in the upcoming patch. So be prepared for that. But 6 Hunter is typically like one of the best things you can hit. It also gives Runans, which is just a good Jinx item as well. We had Olaf, so now I can play around 6 Hunter. It's kind of awkward to play on level 7 though. So like typically you have to drop Preserver, which then makes you a little bit less frontline. As you can see, I'm wasting so much time. So I put it on Zillion because I think I put in Frost to give Olaf some extra juice. However, putting on Zillion is actually wrong, I think, because I want the Jinx stacks, because Jinx is my main damage dealer, so I want those Sugarcraft stacks. So I sell Zillion and put on Bard. That was a mistake. I'm just trying to correct my mistake. I get a lesser duplicator. I run out of time, so I just use the duplicator on the Wukong. I'm just trying to win this round. This guy, by the way, holy fuck, what a high roll. So this guy got Tiniest Titan. He's just greeting the whole game. He hits Golden Quest, which, you know, I know it got nerfed, but Golden Quest is one of the best things you can hit if you actually cash it out, right? Like, the higher your skill level, like, if you look in Challenger, if you filter for Challenger level play and look at Golden Quest, it does really well in the stats compared to, like, you know, Plat or Bronze or, like, you know, lower or Masters even, right? So a lot of the time it's like if you get the cash out and you actually like convert to like a normal ass board, you win the game for free. That's how Golden Quest is. But a lot of times, like, you either don't cash out or you fuck up your cash out turn, so you don't stabilize really well. And those are things that just require a lot of skill to do and a lot of planning. as well as understanding your position. He not only hit that, he also hit invested. If you don't know, invested gives like 40 fucking gold. So out of nowhere, he just cashes out like a couple turns early, and he has a bunch of free rerolls because he's been saving 100 gold the whole game. He goes straight to level 9 and rolls down. Look at this guy. Oh my. So in all intensive purposes, this guy should win the lobby. I don't care what any other board is. Basically, right now, what his strategy should be is he's Tiniest Titan as well, so he has a lot of HP. He's going to be stronger than everybody in the lobby, like, by far. It's just straight up. So what he should do is he should just, like, greed all of his gold and then just roll infinite free rerolls. Like, every turn he just gains rerolls because I've invested. He could just sit now, right? His whole board is upgraded. He's stronger than everybody for sure. Like, Diana, too, with that type of setup. He has no combat, so maybe there's somebody they can lose to, but he has Tiniest Titan, so he's not even too worried about taking a loss. It's not like he's one life. He's like pretty high HP, right? He's like, you know, in the 40s of HP. But he should like in my head, I'm like, he's basically guaranteed to hit like a 3-star unit. Because if he just greeds all his gold, and he, like you know what I mean? Like, he just greeds his gold and he just like hits. Here, I didn't buy the Kog'Maw, I missed it. You know, if we were playing bingo on the bingo card, that's a missed unit in shop on the bingo for chat. But anyways, I get the Jinx 3 now. I should have done it last turn, because then I would have rolled and I didn't have to use my duplicate on the Wukong. I could have duplicated either Jinx or Wukong, whichever one I didn't hit. But either way, it's fine. We should be decently strong now. Some of these boards are going to be a little bit close in these fights, but we're 6 Hunter, Jinx 3. We have decent items. We just don't have a Gwynsu on her. So she kind of doesn't attack very fast, as you can see. She doesn't do like that whole thing where she's clearing out units instantly. We just have pure damage on Jinx. So hopefully we can get a Rod here, and then we will have a Jinx with the Rod. Jinx with the Gwynsu. Oh wait, I remember this game now. I actually forget that there's a Rod here. So I'm looking at the Wukong Rod, but there's a Cassio with the Rod. And I think I missed that the Cassio has a Rod. I just take something else. Yeah, this is my bad. Oh, that's so fucking bad. Okay, I'm probably gonna get all the fucking YouTube comments telling me I'm ass again. Okay, so that's a big mistake, obviously. I need the Gwynsu on the Jinx. I didn't see the Cassio. I was streaming, and I saw it on the Wukong. I literally just didn't see it on the Cassio. That's just like me being like fucking dumb, which is fine. You know, I'm down to be dumb. But anyways, we're just greeting now. There's nothing we can really do. We're just going to roll our goal on level 8 and try and hit an Olaf 2. March of Progress, this is the problem with March of Progress, by the way, is that it makes it really hard for you to cap your board. I'm kind of shackled to being level 7 right now. Like you see, I'm so close to being level 8. I could just level to 8 and like play an extra preserver and make my board stronger this turn. But basically I have to just sit here and just sit with this like level 7 board for a while. Until I'm able to like, you know, realize those like, what's it called, until like March of Progress comes to terms with like leveling me up on its own. That's why it's like really low cap. It's really hard. You usually can't even make it to level 9 ever. You level 9 like somewhere in the middle of round 6, which is very unlikely that like the game lasts that long, just typically. So it makes it very hard for you to like instantly cap out your board. So what I'm going to end up doing, I'm probably going to make it to level 7. I'm going to save up my econ. I'm going to roll a bunch of gold on level 7, try and hit the Olaf 2, and then like fix my board up like that a little bit. But like I said, once you hit Wukong 3, Jinx 3, now if you're not 4 Hunter, you're usually a little bit weaker than this. But at the same time, you have Preserver in, so you last a little bit longer in the grand scheme of things. It's like the more max cap variation of it, where you're playing 6 Hunter. But also, if you're like stuck on low levels, you can also play around Kog'Maw 3 and itemize the Kog'Maw. In terms of positioning, also, you always want to have Kog'Maw next to the Jinx, by the way. I don't say that, but Kog'Maw increases the attack speed of its adjacent units. So when Kog'Maw casts, he'll increase Jinx's attack speed. So you want Kog'Maw and Jinx always to be next to each other. It's really important. This is a little bit of a scary fight because I'm on same side as the Rise, but I should be able to beat this pretty easily. Jinx just pumps out damage, even without the Gwynsu. As soon as she does her first cast off, she's just shooting the rockets. Like, everybody just fucking dies with 6 Hunter. Because I'm 6 Hunter as well, it always matters. In some cases, if they have like a Giga Tank, you want to make sure that your board is targeting one of the weaker units. No, it doesn't really come up in any of these fights in particular, but let's say there was like a Kalista Rakan player. You don't want to like... those fights are a little bit more difficult because sometimes you can't kill the Rakan and then you just run into some problems. Anyways, I sold the Zillion before because I needed to put in the Bard. The reason I sold the Zillion was because it's going to be a while until I play the Zillion anyways. So it is what it is. Here I'm just waiting with my items. I'm going to see what item drops I get. And then I'll fix up my items on Jinx and redistribute the items to other units. So I get dropped another bow. Here hopefully I don't get punished, and I don't. I get the Gwinsu. So it's all okay. We made it work. It's fine. We'll be okay. So I'm going to make a Titan because I have an extra bow. I just need a frontline item for Wukong. There's nothing I can really do. If I took the rod before, like I actually had like a proper ass item on Jinx, then I probably could have made a Wukong item, but you know, it is what it is. So we bought the trench coat just because we want to buy a charm. I'm rolling on level 8. I find the Zillion, so now this is the board that typically looks like on level 8. 6 Hunter, 3 Frost. You're playing around the Olaf and the Jinx. Hodge with the Last Whisper. They're both crit glove items, so it has a good item pair combo. Gwinsu with Runans also works really well, and I like the red buff for the attack speed and the damage amp on the Jinx. Eventually, if I get like another Gwinsu, I can do double Gwinsu Runans on Jinx, and then I can put the red buff on the Kog'Maw. That's totally valid and fine. And then I have Titans on Wukong. It's not the best item on him, but it is a frontline item, kind of. Wukong does do a significant chunk of damage, and he can make use of like the AP and the AD, so we just give Titans to him. We would like a better defensive item. If I can get a better Wukong item, then I can move the Titans onto Olaf anyways, so there's no point in like greeding to make different items there. It's like, it's fine. We're going to roll here until we probably hit Olaf 2. I'll hold on to the Morgana because when I level, if I make it to stage 6 middle of stage 6, sorry, then I can level to 9 with March of Progress, and then I'll put in another Preserver, and that's how you cap out the board typically. I'm trying to move my units around a little bit. I just don't want to get Fiora ulted or Diana ulted somewhere where they're diving the back line and hitting target focus firing my Jinx, right? I want to make sure that it gets pulled to another side. This guy, this is what I didn't understand. He just went straight to 10. Which I get it. Maybe he's just going for 10. He's going to go for a 3-star 5 cost. He has invested. So he's going to gain a bunch of free rerolls. I don't know if he already had a bunch of free rerolls and he just went to level 10 and used them all on level 10. But he's so fucking strong. He has like every 5 cost on his board level 10. He has Xerath and Rise. He just sniped my backline. Level 10, I'm pretty sure he just beats me. It's going to be very hard to like, you know, it's kind of down to RNG. Like maybe the Rise doesn't snipe my Jinx. And I managed to like win a fight against him, but I don't see how this guy loses this game. Just very, very strong, very good item combos, very good board that he made. And then he's also invested, so he can just sit there and just like build up bank now, and once he has enough bank, he can just like send it again and just go for like a 3-star something, because he's level 10. Like the odds are so good on level 10. Like if you have like 20 free rerolls on level 10, you're surely gonna hit something 3-star. You know what I mean? And just like he has so many win conditions. This is the guy that I was positioning for before, by the way. This guy's Fiora. So as you can see, the Fiora is dashing well away from my Jinx, and that's all that we can do. We want to make sure that the Fiora doesn't dash towards my Jinx and kill her early because she's my main damage dealer. As you can see, we win against this guy, so we're just in a good spot. We're just happy, and we're just happy things are going great, and we'll just we should get a top 4 here. It's almost guaranteed. I'm not sure if I can play for first, so I'm gonna try and play a little bit more conservatively to try and play around like, you know, like a second place, right? I don't think I can outcap that guy who's level 10, like I said. And the reason I'm bringing it up, I'm not bringing it up to like bitch about it. Like obviously if I'm streaming, sometimes I'll jokingly or like talk a lot about bitching about it, like stuff like that. Here was a huge mistake though, by the way. So I'll point it out right now. I should have taken Crown Guard. Crown Guard is pretty good on Wukong. Even Bloodthirster is pretty good on Wukong. But like I took this because I saw this guy running towards it, and I was like, maybe I should just take the Bloodthirster. I should have taken a front item for Wukong. I forgot that I still have Titans on Wukong. Any item that's better than Titans is better to play on Wukong here. Because if I put it on Wukong, I could have just moved the Titans onto the Olaf. Because I want my Wukong to be as tanky as possible. So, you know, that's kind of fucking stressful. Anyways, if you look at this board, this guy kind of fucking high rolled. This is the Eldritch player, by the way. Remember I said keep your eyes peeled for this Eldritch player. Look at his board. So he has Syndra 3 that's been scaling the whole game. He had Giant and Mighty, Spoils of War, yes, yada yada, all of those are great. He has Nyla 3, Nyla 3, Mordekaiser 3, Syndra 3. But then if you look at the back row, he has an Arcana emblem. If you don't remember, earlier in the game, he had like some fucking like Honeycraft emblem out of nowhere. So he reforged and he got Arcana, which is one of the best emblems you can hit, by the way, because it just gives you so much stat boost to your whole team. So that's very fucking scary. So this guy, if he makes it to like a higher level, that he can fit in some synergies. And then on Carousel, he got an Eldritch emblem, I'm pretty sure. So now to play 7 Eldritch, you can even drop one of his shitter units. So this guy's board just worked out really, really well for him, because he got not only the Arcana emblem, but also the Eldritch emblem, which are both just insanely high roll hits. Anyways, like I said, I made a mistake. I made double healing Olaf to keep my last Whisper alive more. I could have easily taken a Wukong item, but instead I chose to take the Olaf item. I think a Wukong item would have been better here, because Titans is a pretty good Olaf item anyways, so I would have preferred to do that. But it's okay. It is what it is. Like I said, there's always going to be a couple mistakes, especially when I'm playing live. When I'm streaming and I'm talking about the game and I'm trying to do multiple things at once, like, you know, playlist stops, reset the playlist, bingo, like trying to make it entertaining. I always make these mistakes, so, you know, of course, like I just like to always apologize. You know, if you're watching and you're trying to learn, and then I'm always like, oopsie, this is a mistake, oopsie, this is a mistake. But in doing so and doing these reviews, it's not for me to say that I'm better than everybody else. It's more so like, hey, these are things I did right, these are things I did wrong. And if you're trying to learn how to play the game, or if you haven't played this comp and you're trying to get like an idea of what to do in certain spots, hopefully I'm covering that. And then if you have questions about things, I'll be glad to answer them as well, to the best of my ability. But, you know, that's like the whole idea. But this guy, it looks like every time I check in on this guy, he's like 0 gold. So I don't know who he's losing to, but he is like sending it every fucking turn, and it confuses me. But anyways, this guy has a huge amount of damage amp because of the Arcana emblem, and he also has like Giga Arcana. As you can see, this fucking stupid ass bear jumps on my backline and he just stuns everybody. So I can't fucking deal with this, because he has a fucking Xerath too as well. He has a Syndra. Like, I beat him this turn, but he's like 50 gold, right? As soon as he makes it to level 9, he also has a greater champ dupe. As if he makes it to level 9, which he will in a turn, I'm pretty sure he outcaps me, because he's just gonna level and play one more Arcana, right? So, you know, Eldritch, I'm sure like you'll probably see it come Wednesday that it'll be pretty popular, because it is getting buffed again. Syndra is getting buffed and Eldritch is getting buffed. But this is like this is like the 3rd or 4th game that I play that there is like Eldritch doing like top 1 or top 2, you know what I mean? Like, if you have a good Eldritch spot, like if you start the game out with a Syndra and you have good Syndra items, and you can actually convert it to like a 7 Eldritch board later, and you can play like Eldritch with Arcana, or like Eldritch with Mage, or Eldritch with like Chrono, like one of those boards towards the end of the game, it is very strong. Here I take Guinsoo, because I think double Guinsoo is better on Jinx. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move the red buff onto the Kog'Maw, because I have a Kog'Maw 3 anyway, so it's okay to itemize him. So I'm going to move that over, and then double Guinsoo Jinx I think will pump out more damage than Jinx with the red buff. Now, I know red buff gives starting attack speed and gives damage amp, but Jinx gets so much extra damage from the Hunter trait as well as her own ability that I'd prefer to just have her ramp up the speed, especially with the Runans, that she can like stray bullet kill other units as well, which is really exciting and fun. This is the guy that went fast to 10. I don't know what he did. Like I don't know how he didn't win this game. But maybe it's just because he doesn't have a combat augment. Maybe he was just like, maybe while he looked like he was really strong to me, maybe other people in the lobby were beating him, and that's what made it really hard for him to convert. I thought for sure this guy was gonna go first. So this whole time I was playing, I was rolling for charms. I was playing more in like a conservative, like, you know, a conservative way where I'm hoping that, you know, ideally I make a second out of this game. But out of nowhere, he became very weak. Like I said before, I thought that he would just like build up a huge amount of bank, and then when he's really low on health, he would just roll it to 0 and just like 3-star something. Because if you're level 10 with Invested and Tiniest Titan, I feel like, you know, you're already stabilized around cashing out Golden Quest. You're basically up like a whole Prismatic, because you have an Ornn artifact on a 2-star 5 cost. I thought that he would be able to like hit something crazy, but he didn't. He just kind of went for like a 5-cost soup board, and it looks like I kind of outcapped him. So that's nice to see. However, Eldritch player made it to level 9. He has Manazane on his fucking Syndra. I don't even know how he got that. I'll tell you. He has Xerath, so he got a Xerath charm, and that just gave him extra Xerath juice. So now we're in like this awkward spot. It's so hard to deal with because he has Nyla 3 as well. So everybody's getting damage at him. Nyla is going to do a shit ton of damage in Eldritch. She normally does. So we have Nyla doing a shit ton of damage. We have Nami that's stunning. We have Syndra that has scaled the whole game and it's stage 6. Right? It's middle of stage 6. So I made it to level 9. But like, you know, I don't think I'm winning against the Eldritch player, which is really, really unfortunate. Maybe if I get really good charms, I can beat him. But it looks like he outcapped me. And that's an important note, right? A lot of times when we're looking at these things, I should have put the tier on Kog'Maw, by the way. That's a mistake. Kog'Maw with tier, so he cast earlier. Because the casting is really important. But he has so much backline access, right? Syndra has backline access. This fucking bear jumps on me and stuns my backline as well. This time he didn't stun the Jinx, so that's really good for me. Mordekaiser is unkillable because Mordekaiser is fucking broken. So, you know, with 2 Vanguard Mordekaiser, he's out-tanking my fucking Wukong. And then because he has Xerath and the Xerath charm as well, he just does so much damage. And here, he's not even picking, like, the damage amp charm. He's picking the Hecarim, because the Hecarim gives him durability, so it's making him outlive my front line. And the Nyla is the one doing, like, a good chunk, majority of the damage. Right? A no warrior Nyla 3 is fucking running my shit down. It is so funny how strong it is. And I think like every aspect of that board that we see here is getting buffed. So, you know, come Wednesday, I remember I was already saying it, I'm pretty sure it's going to be better. Also, I put in Chrono here because the Chrono is better than 1 extra Preserver. 1 extra Preserver heals you 2% every 3 seconds. Chrono heals you 20% in 14 seconds. So if you do the math, as long as you make it to 14 seconds, it's better. Or it's better in a lot of the cases. I'm trying to switch up my Jinx positioning because I'm trying to get this bear to jump on somebody else, but you know they're not. So that it is what it is. Sorry, my music stopped. I'll replay it. But with the durability and the Mordekaiser, like I cannot kill this Mordekaiser for the life of me. The Xerath is doing so much fucking damage. He literally killed my whole board, and then Nyla is just running me down. It's insane. Like the board is very high cap. Like the Eldritch board, even like this is previous patch, is very strong. I've had this situation happen a lot. Now obviously he high rolled. He has an Eldritch emblem and an Arcana emblem. He also had Spoils of War, which helped out his whole board, and Giant and Mighty, which helps out his whole board. But I just going to show you, right? Like if you're watching this past the Wednesday changes to Eldritch and stuff, if you have a good spot for these units, right? If you have an opener where you can play around Syndra and you know that you're uncontested, you can hit Mordekaiser 3. These boards do cap very high, these Eldritch boards. They're just very, very particular. So the buffs that are happening might make it so that you have a little bit more of an opportunity to play them, like you're stable at a lower level, like a lower cost, like sorry, less upgrades and stuff like that. But yeah, we lose out to the Eldritch board. I'm not sure. There's some optimization I could have done. Obviously, a better Wukong item was essential because my Wukong was dying way too early. My Jinx items ended up working out to be good. It's just so difficult. I couldn't even think of a good positioning because there's so much to chew through with that guy's board in particular. Just so many units that are so hard to kill, like the Nyla and the Mordekaiser. And because he has Xerath too, my Jinx was often dead before even my Wukong died. So, you know, it was very hard to beat that board in my opinion. But either way, it's a great second. I was pretty happy with it. And that's Wukong Jinx. I haven't played a Wukong Jinx game in a really long time. I used to play it all the time a couple patches ago because that was like one of the go-to comps. But yeah, add it to your repertoire. Play it as much as you can. It will be better come this, like slightly, if you're looking at like consistency. Like they're buffing Jinx, so it should be better come Wednesday as well. But yeah, that's a good GG's. Thank you for watching, and hopefully you have a great day. See you around.